Hello, guys, and welcome to this other tutorial about GSX Level 2. And here we're going to talk about sharing files. We're going to talk about SODE airports also. Um, Maybe we can put those things together in this same video. Now, as you can see, this is the scenery that I purchased a couple of days ago. Like a week ago. And I purchased it for two reasons because it's in the middle of Europe and it's kind of useful to have it. And also, it belongs to Simwings, and I love the way they're doing the lighting at night. I think it's beautiful and it's very, very realistic. I discovered that when I purchased Madrid, and um, and it's amazing. Now, this is a scenery that comes with SODE, and we are going to load the plane. Okay, I've chosen full load, except for the crew, I'm going to put 6. Now, it says that this is a FS Labs 320. It says that it works 100% okay with GSX2. Now, I never found to be true that the number of passengers you put in here are the number of passengers you're going to load, which is kind of a pity because if you wanted to have a fast loading and you don't want to spend a lot of time, you put less passengers and that's it. But I think it just like kind of like randomizes or something. So I'm going to load the plane and yeah, request boarding. Boarding has been requested. And this is to show you that the last sceneries that are coming out in the market, they come, of course, with SODE, most all of them, and they are coming out with glass scenery, glass jetways, and you can see it. You can see the passengers board. Now you say, okay, then I don't need to do anything with GSX. Well, you do because you can improve it also. And maybe this tutorial can help you to that all the sceneries that maybe not are not coming in glass getaways, you can uh, you can make them glass. So you need to remove the SODE. And there's a few of you have been asking of how to do it. I'm going to show you how. Also in the folder that you're going to see now, because this chapter is about sharing. So I'm going to teach you how to uh, get the sceneries that I have on the forum of FSDT, how to import them and how to place them on your sceneries, which is something that I'm sure you're going to like. Now we're going to speed up this a little bit and okay, simulation rate, and we're going to put it up to 16 to make sure that, see, now this is not working, okay? Because it's telling you that it's boarding and you don't see any passengers. That's why you need to sometimes to get to uninstall the SODA that comes with the scenery and install your own, okay? So that's what we're going to do now. So this is the scenery as the way it comes. I'm going to close the simulator, okay, and I'm going to show you how you can install all the configuration that I've made for this airport with GSX2 liveries and jetways and everything, and with all the parking vehicles on its right place. It's one of the few airports that I have fully finished. They will all be finished of the 35 that I placed in that folder within the next, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks maximum. I'm trying to do one or two a week. Sorry, a day. Sorry, one every 2 or 3 days. And by the end, let's say by the beginning of November, they will all have the word full ahead of it, which means that they've been fully tested, fully configured. Now, the others that don't say full, that doesn't mean they're not working okay. That means that some of the gates might not be working correct because they're not the right size, and they have all those kind of errors that we talked about before. And so in order to make sure that everything works, it needs to have the word full ahead of the folder of the scenery. Now, if we exit the simulator, in this Windows I have here, the first thing on the right, oops, it's the FSDreamteam forum, I've created a page that the link to this page, it's down below. You'll find the link down below in the description of this YouTube video. And on the first page, you'll find a link. In future pages, you'll find other links that I've published for this same bunch configuration, but it's always the same. I mean, they might have different codes, but they will always take you to the same place. Now, if you see this, it's exactly the same as what I have on my folder. This is the linked folder, okay? Now, if you download this, you will have something that will look like this. And here there's some, I keep on adding things. There's some, Humberto sometimes corrects me about things, which is nice. And okay, we can close this now in a minute. But let me show you what you need to do to get rid of the necessary files for sceneries that you have SODE that comes with that scenery. Okay, to do a scenery that is without SODE, without replacing a scenery that has already SODE, is much easier. Okay, but I'm going to start with the more complicated one. Now I have this quick access link to my SODE files, which are in this direction here, this address. Now, if you go in here, let's go to Brussels, okay? Because we're going to start Brussels. Now, if you go to the main page, the main folder that I shared with you, it comes with an instruction that it's in Spanish and English, and this is common to every time you install one of my sceneries, okay? You just follow this instruction. It's pretty straightforward. But if there's any specific instruction to a specific scenery, such is the case of Brussels, because it has a SODE already installed in it, you have to follow these instructions to get rid of the SODE from the original scenery. Now, it's not always the same, because sometimes I was forced to edit certain files of the SODE original files from a particular scenery, but in this case, it's much easier. You just have to erase or just back up the original files if you want to keep them. I already have backups of this one, so I'm going to erase them. And if I go, the first thing it tells you, go to the SODE filer, the XML folder, which is right here, okay? Or you can just copy this, okay? You copy this one, you copy it here, you press it, you take it there, you go in here, it takes you here, and then it's going to tell you to remove this file. Jussim, there you go, this one. So you delete it, or you put into another folder of backups or whatever, and then it tells you, and then remove this folder that is on this direction, on this address here. So we copy this. Actually, we go to sim objects. It should say sim objects. Yeah, there you go, sim objects folder. I should have copied this, okay? And then in here, it tells you to remove just this folder, which is this one right here. I delete it, and that's it. That's this way we've got rid of the files that might have conflict with GSX level 2, being the scenery, a scenery that contains already SODE jetways. Now, in order to place my configuration, which is fully customized, you just have to open the FSDreamteam, and you go to wherever you have your P4, your GSX installed. I have it on Pepper 3D version 4 folder. It's called, it adds a folder called Atom Manager. Some people change this name. I just have it the way it automatically installs it. You open the GSX folders, and it's one called FSDreamteam. So you bring the content of FSDreamteam, which is called exclude, and you drop it here. Now, I already had my own exclusions made here, so I'm just going to replace them. If you haven't done any exclusions in this scenery, it won't ask you anything. You just drop it there and it has copied it already. Now, the other folder that you have to drop is the roaming folder. Now, how to get there is very simple. You just press this symbol, data, you go in here, and you find a folder here called Virtuali, which is the same as this one, okay? So you open My Virtuali and you drop the GSX into, oops, I hope I haven't placed it there. No, okay, no, that's close. And I just drop it here, okay? This one I erased before, so it didn't ask me to replace anything, so it just copied my files. Okay, let me explain you, this is very important. Now, if you have done any configuration whatsoever with GSX level 1 or 2 on your scenery of Brussels, you have to get rid or back up that file, because you see the name here, the first 4 letters are the name of the airport, Echo Bravo Bravo Romeo, which is Brussels Airport. And this code here, I think it generates it randomly, and that's a code that has been assigned by GSX for Brussels in your computer. Okay, so since when I did it in mine, okay, in my case it's going to be the same. But if you had done a customization yourself on this computer, it would have a different 5 letters or 6 letters at the end of it. Okay. Now, if you want to keep your configuration, just put it aside, back it up, or whatever, but you cannot have 2 files starting with the 4 letters of the airport Echo Bravo Bravo Romeo, because it will create a conflict, okay? Now, if you go inside here, you probably remember, if you've gone through the Madrid, I had a miscellaneous chapter on Madrid, that I had a cold crash, a very tough crash that I could not recover, and I could not configure certain gateways, certain jetways in the Terminal 4 Sierra, and we managed a way to fix them, remember, without being able to put the gate number or any kind of ads. Well, I managed to edit this file, because this is the information, this is the file that has any kind of changes you've made on the parking position that you've edited. Like if you want what kind of passenger bus, if you want, let's say, for example, this one, let me go and see a more complicated one. In here, it tells you the font of the gate number, what kind of jetway you've selected. The logo, for example, we couldn't change the logo on those on a few heavy jetways in Terminal 4 Sierra in Madrid Airport. So if you add this thing on the end, you place inside the total, add a logo on top of it. Okay. Now don't mess with this, because it's you can really. Well, I mean, if you mess it up, you can always have replace my backup and from the folder of Dropbox. And so this is it. You don't have to do anything else. And as you can see in the next few minutes, in the next few seconds, we're going to go inside back to Brussels, and you're going to see that a new fully configuration done in that airport. You don't even have to do any compilation here, because he has already found the files that you've placed in, as you can see, I don't know if I've already done this, but since I can replace, yeah, we've replaced them before. I explained you before. This is the exclusions folder. It has a folder here that tells all the exclusions, and the other one, it's the other exclusions. That is a very strange thing here. And these 2 files, so actually GSX only works with 3 files. The exclusions, we already dropped that one on FSDreamteam. And this one, which is an app data, okay? Those 3 files take care of the whole configuration. So in a few seconds, by just copying and dropping in the few folders that you're sharing with other users, if they're well organized and so forth. It's pretty simple. As you can see right now, when we go back in the cabin and the scenery, you're going to see that everything looks neat and works perfectly well. See you in the scenery. Okay, so we are in Brussels, back again, and as you can see, all the gates now have their numbers and their ads on it, their logos, and the deliveries from the jetways of GSX Level 2. Now, to prove that it works differently, to see if we can get passengers to be seen through the jetway, I've programmed in the FMC of the FS Labs 320 maximum load, which is 6 crew and 54, 54, and 60 passengers on different sections. And I'm going to start boarding the plane. And so, yeah, this is also to show you here a jetway. Yeah, this jetway, we confirm. And it will start docking the jetway with the GSX sound on it. Oh, maybe. Okay. 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 Let's speed this up a little bit. Yep. Getting the trucks in motion. There you go. Yeah, and you can see now that the captain is boarding and so forth. So it does work. And if you start looking at the passengers, if we loaded, I think it was 60, 54, and 54. That makes it a total of 108, 168. And we'll see now if the passenger numbers are the same. Hold on a second. Speed it up a little bit more. And let's see if we get the same count in here. I think we don't. Check 1 second. Now, for some reason, they're not starting to load yet. There should be some passengers coming already. And we're not... Oh, there we go. Okay. Now we're going to pause this. We're going to decrease the simulation rate to normal. And let's see how many passengers are we supposed to be loading. Now what is relevant for the flight regarding weights and so forth. See, it says 168, so it does work. Huh. The other day I didn't get the same number, but in any case, it's not much of a big deal, but it's not much of a big deal because it kind of works. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is something regarding the. I'm going to use Madrid as an example of for this case. And if you go to my file of Madrid Barajas, which is the scenery I was speaking about in the previous chapters or in the following chapters, I don't know where, but it's this only affects the sceneries configurations that relate to an airport that has the possibility of having different wind configuration. That happens in Madrid, that you can have the north, south, or all runways open, which is the unrealistic one, but it's the one I use. It also happens in Schiphol, for example, but it happens in a few other airports. Now, this affects the AFCAT file. It says here the AFCAT file. The AFCAT file is something that is within your scenery folder. It has all the important and relevant information regarding taxiways and where the planes are parked and so forth. And it is the AFCAT file is something that is used a lot for GSX. For example, for the pushbacks, that is something that I will talk in the chapter 8 and how to edit the AFCAT file and so forth. But the AFCAT file is a very important file for us. So in this file, in the case of Madrid Barajas, it's in your scenery folder, and here it's right here. You see it says FAFX. It's this one here. Okay. Now, if you go to the roaming folder, which is one of the ones you dropped into your computer, and you edit it with the text editor, you're going to find that the second line here, it talks about the AFCAT path. Now, the path is not relevant itself. I mean, it doesn't matter where it's in your computer, because the way that GSX has designed this is that it would look for this scenery folder, so people can share easier the AFCAT files. But this part, this is very important that it's named in the same way that is named in your scenery folder. Now, in most of the cases, you're not going to find a problem with this because it has always the same name. But in sceneries such as this, where you can have 3 different configurations, for example, depending on the configuration, the computer or the installer or the configurator will add a different name of the AFCAT file itself. I think if you install the North configuration, it will create an AFCAT file called like this. So you would have to go in here and make in the folder and make sure that if you have the North configuration, this file will probably be called AFCAT AFX Oscar Papa 02, and I'm pretty sure it will say something like November here, like North. You can either run the configurator and put the all runways open, which is the one I usually use, and then you would have the same AFCAT file name, or you can just change the name here by adding the last letter of the configuration that would show in here, and then you save it, and that's about it. I'm not going to touch anything because that's the way I like it, and that's the way it is. But this is important, and if you have any problem in sharing files and installing them in your computer, it's probably because it's one of these airports that has different WIN configurations. Okay, so this is about it. All I can say about sharing files. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask on this video at the bottom of the page. Cheers!